Let's get started with our first news. Arman has once again gone off on Ilya, throwing shade at the lightweight champion following his massive KO win over Charles at UFC 317. Arman made it clear that he's not buying into the hype, saying Ilya tends to gas out when pressured and doesn't have the kind of high-level grappling needed to deal with the top wrestlers in the division. Arman confidently stated that both he and Islam would easily hold Ilya down in a fight. He even teased his game plan, hinting that he already knows exactly how to dismantle Ilya's striking-heavy approach and expose the holes in his ground game. The beef between these two has been simmering for a while, and now with Ilya holding the belt, the stakes feel higher than ever. Stylistically, it's a fascinating clash. Arman brings relentless pressure and world-class wrestling, while Ilya counters with knockout power and slick boxing. Even though this fight isn't happening next, it feels more and more possible in the near future. The only real obstacle seems to be the UFC's lingering frustration with Arman after the fallout from his failed main event booking against Islam. Dana hasn't forgotten that incident, and it's one of the main reasons Arman has been kept just outside of title contention. But Arman knows that if he scores another big win and keeps the spotlight on himself, it's only a matter of time before he forces his way into a grudge match with Ilya. And when that happens, fans should expect fireworks. Breaking down Ilya's skills, Arman actually gave him some credit. He admitted Ilya is a very good boxer, someone who hits extremely hard and stays patient. Arman pointed out that Ilya doesn't rush into danger. He waits for his openings, doesn't force things, and that's a very strong quality not many fighters have. Even if he takes a hard shot, he doesn't panic. He stays calm, moves with precision, and shows a high fight IQ. According to Arman, those are Ilya's strongest attributes. But Arman also sees weaknesses. He explained that in clinch exchanges, Ilya starts to gas pans. That's where Arman plans to focus, knowing that taking away Ilya's punching power is the key. He also noted that Ilya hasn't faced truly elite wrestlers yet. The only one who tested him was Bryce Mitchell, who managed to take him down and hold him there. But Arman quickly dismissed that, saying even Mitchell isn't a high-level fighter, so it's impossible to truly judge Ilya's grappling from that fight. Arman insists that guys like Islam and himself can take Ilya down and control him without much trouble. As for what's next, Arman is expected to face Dan Hooker before the end of the year. That matchup was recently confirmed by Ali Abdelaziz, who has close ties to the UFC. With fights like this lining up, the lightweight division is finally starting to take shape. Fans are beginning to see exactly how the top contenders are positioning themselves, and the build-up is setting the stage for some serious fireworks in the months ahead. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We're constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That's why we'd truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Move on to another news. Dana White recently made headlines when he revealed that Jon Jones actually apologized for the way the Tom Aspinall negotiations played out. Speaking on the Zach Gelb show, Dana explained that Jones reached out to him directly after all the chaos surrounding the failed talks. But even with the apology, Dana made it crystal clear that Jones will not be fighting on the White House card. In Dana's words, it's 1,000,000,000 to odds that Jon Jones ends up on that card, meaning the chances are essentially zero. Dana broke it down, saying Jones was obviously saying all the right things. He reached out and apologized, trying to smooth things over. According to Dana, it wasn't a full conversation. It wasn't a phone call or a meeting. Jones simply sent him a message. In that text, Jones wrote something along the lines of, "Listen, sorry how this all played out. I want to fight at the White House. I'm serious about that." Dana acknowledged the apology and the effort, but when asked if it changed his view, his response was immediate. No, not at all. Dana did, however, give Jones some respect for reaching out. He said he appreciated the gesture, but he also explained why it doesn't move the needle for him. Dana emphasized that he needs people he can count on, fighters who he knows will step up when it matters most. He pointed out that he knows exactly who those people are and who they are not. And while he called Jon Jones the greatest of all time, he didn't hold back on pointing out his biggest flaw. According to Dana, what Jones is not the greatest at is delivering. He's not the guy Dana can fully trust to always show up and not pull out of fights. Instead, Dana drew a sharp contrast with Conor. He said Conor has always been that guy. No matter the situation, Conor has always let the UFC know who he's fighting, when he's fighting, and has never been afraid to step in. Dana highlighted that Conor simply doesn't care about the circumstances. He's always ready to go, which is why he has that reputation as a reliable star. Dana also made it clear that the public doesn't see the whole picture. On the surface, fighters often talk a big game. They say all the right things to the media, they stir up hype, and they put on a front. But behind the scenes, Dana knows what really goes down. He said he knows more than anyone else about what fighters are actually thinking, who they really want to fight, and what they are truly willing to do. He explained that when you strip away the public talk, it's a whole different ballgame. That's where the truth comes out about who is dependable and who is not. At the end of the day, Dana's message was straightforward. He respects Jon Jones, he acknowledged the apology, and he still believes Jones is the GOAT. But when it comes to building a card as historic as the one at the White House, Dana is only going to rely on fighters who he knows will show up without question. And in his eyes, Jones just isn't that guy. Move on to another news. Saturday's Noche UFC main card at Frostbank Center in San Antonio delivered from start to finish, giving fans a night filled with non-stop action, punishing stoppages, and dramatic battles. It was the kind of event that left the crowd buzzing, and somehow the main event managed to go even beyond expectations. The night opened with an explosive performance from newcomer Santiago Luna, who wasted no time in making his mark. Luna scored a first-round stoppage over Quang Lei, igniting the partisan crowd into absolute chaos. The energy inside the arena was electric, setting the tone for everything that followed. The momentum only grew stronger when local favorite Alexander Hernandez stepped into the octagon. Fighting for the second time in just 4 weeks, Hernandez once again delivered, stopping Diego Ferreira and keeping his momentum alive in front of his hometown fans. From there, the card rolled into a series of high-paced wars. Kelvin Gastelum stepped up and showed why he remains one of the toughest competitors in the sport, battling through adversity to get his hand raised. Rafa Garcia followed with a gritty performance, earning a hard-fought win that had the crowd on its feet. Then David Martinez delivered in his matchup, coming out on top after a competitive scrap that showcased heart, toughness, and determination from both fighters. Each of these fights had the crowd on edge and the energy never dipped for a moment. Then came the main event, where Diego Lopes and Jean Silva engaged in an absolute brawl that had fans out of their seats from the opening bell. Lopes came in determined, and in the very first round he made a statement by putting Silva on the canvas and dominating from mount. He smothered Silva with relentless pressure, showing superior control and ground and pound that clearly set the tone. The first 5 minutes were all Lopes, and it looked like he might cruise to victory. But Silva wasn't about to go away quietly. At the start of the second round, he came out aggressively, firing heavy shots and pressing the action. Silva looked for the spinning back elbow multiple times, trying desperately to land the highlight reel strike. The two fighters went back and forth, trading bombs in the center of the cage with neither man backing down. The intensity was through the roof, and the fans could feel the tension rising with every exchange. Then late in the second round, everything changed in an instant. With Silva pressing forward, Lopes timed it perfectly, spinning and landing a devastating back elbow of his own. The very same strike Silva had been hunting all fight. The shot sliced Silva wide open, sending shockwaves through the arena. Lopes immediately pounced, raining down strikes until the referee stepped in at 4:48 of the round to wave it off. It was a brutal finish to a thrilling contest, and once again, Lopes proved why he is among the very best featherweights in the world. After coming up short in a bid for the vacant title earlier this year, the Brazilian Warriors leader reminded everyone that he is still right there at the top of the contender list. This performance not only added another highlight to his resume, but it also kept him firmly in the mix for another run at UFC Gold. From the opener to the main event, Noche UFC was a night to remember. Every fight delivered, every fighter left it all inside the octagon, and the fans in San Antonio got one of the most entertaining cards of the year. Move on to another news. Dana White has admitted that there's a huge possibility Conor fights on the UFC White House card next summer. While Dana has already ruled out Jon Jones appearing on that historic event, the situation looks very different when it comes to Conor. The former two-division champion has been pushing hard for this opportunity, making it clear he wants to headline the card, and Dana's recent comments suggest it might actually happen. After re-entering the USADA testing pool last month and logging his first anti-doping test in years, Conor has continued to post footage of himself training and looking sharp ahead of a potential comeback. Fans have been skeptical about whether he would truly return, but his recent consistency in training clips and public statements have fueled speculation. During his appearance on the Jim Rome Show this week, Dana was asked about the chances of Conor making the card, and his response turned heads. Dana said there's a huge possibility Conor fights on the White House card, which immediately set the MMA world buzzing. When pressed about the situation, Dana explained it more clearly. He said, "We'll see how this thing plays out. I'll start making this card in February. If it all plays out that way, Conor could be on the card." While he didn't outright confirm anything, the fact that he acknowledged the strong chance is more than enough to get fans excited. Dana made it clear that despite everything, he would still take Conor for the card if the timing lined up. Of course, Dana also pointed out some realities. He acknowledged that Conor has only one win in the last 7 years and has been dealing with plenty of outside issues. He said Conor made a lot of money when he was active, but this isn't tennis or golf, this is the fight business. The implication was clear. Conor still needs to prove he can do what the UFC needs him to do at this stage of his career. Dana admitted they'll have to wait and see if Conor can still deliver when it counts. Even with Dana's optimism, fight fans remain divided. Many are still hesitant to believe Conor will make it to the cage, especially after his withdrawal from UFC 303 earlier this year. That cancellation left a bad taste for fans who were eager to see him return. Still, the possibility of Conor headlining the first ever UFC event at the White House is massive, and Dana's words have only added more fuel to the fire. Whether he's ready or not, the stage is being set for one of the biggest comebacks in UFC history. Move on to another news. Dan Hooker has shared his thoughts on Alexander Volkanovski's next fight, and his take is stirring some serious debate. After Lauren Murphy's knockout win over Aaron Pico, many believed he had secured the next shot at the featherweight title. Both Murphy and Volkanovski seemed open to that matchup, but Hooker doesn't see it going that way. In a recent interview with Sky Sport, he explained that he believes the winner of Diego Lopes versus Jean Silva will be the one to get the next title shot. Hooker was confident in his stance, saying, "I feel like 100% whoever gets their hand raised in this fight will be fighting for a title because they're the most exciting guys. I hear Lopes moves the needle. I know Silva and the fighting nerds are doing an incredible job. Winner of this fight gets the title shot." He also dismissed other contenders, adding, "A lot of people will say there are some other guys out there. Murphy, I've been told he's too boring. Movsar Evlovu, no one cares to see him fight. Alja Sterling, the UFC hates you, my friend. I love you, your rum is outstanding, but the big leagues hate you for some reason. Sorry, the winner of this fight is getting the title shot." Heading into this pivotal matchup, analysts are split on who has the edge. Hinata Moano believes Silva will come out on top by decision. Gilbert Burns, however, sees a different scenario. Burns argued that Silva has a big chance to score a knockout in the first or second round, but if he fails to finish early, he thinks the fight swings in favor of Lopes, who could grind out a decision win. Burns added, "I do believe if he doesn't finish Diego in the first or second round, Diego by decision. I think that fight is going to be a decision no matter who wins." As for the fighters themselves, Lopes is walking into this bout with supreme confidence. He made it clear that he intends to show Silva there are levels to the game. Lopes said, "This game has levels. I think I've proven to stay at a high level. I prepare for everything. After the fight with Volkanovski, nothing is surprising me in the octagon." That mindset highlights his belief that experience against the very best has prepared him for anything Silva brings. With so much at stake, this fight is more than just another matchup. It's a direct pathway to a potential title shot against Volkanovski, and both fighters know the magnitude of the moment. Whether it's Silva's early knockout power or Lopes's durability and high-level preparation, fans can expect fireworks. Hooker is convinced the UFC will lean toward excitement and marketability, which is why he's so sure the winner of this fight will be the one to challenge for gold. Move on to another news. Eddie Hearn has made it clear that he wants to compete directly against Dana White. For years, Dana has been exploring ways to break into boxing, and now with his partnership alongside Turki Al-Sheikh, the push is stronger than ever. As they gear up for one of the biggest fights of the year in Canelo vs. Crawford, Eddie Hearn is openly welcoming the challenge. In a recent interview with Charlie Parsons, Hearn admitted that he has a lot of respect for Dana, but because of that respect, he feels an even greater desire to go head-to-head with him. Hearn said he wants to prove that he is the better promoter in the boxing world, just like Dana is widely recognized as the CEO of the UFC. Hearn emphasized that he isn't going to start throwing insults at Dana or try to tear him down. Instead, he respects what Dana has accomplished in MMA, and that respect fuels his competitive drive. He explained that at this stage of his career, what excites him most is the possibility of testing himself against someone like Dana White. The idea of competing directly against him, promoting big events at the same time, and showing the world who can truly deliver is something Hearn is eager for. At the same time, Hearn was very clear about the reality of boxing. He pointed out that while Dana and his partners might try to shake things up, this sport is not one that you can just walk into and immediately take over. Boxing has too much history, too many layers, and too many moving parts for someone to simply steamroll their way to the top. Hearn reminded everyone that while competition is fantastic, boxing is not going to roll over just because Dana White is entering the scene. Still, there was no bitterness in Hearn's words. He said he is genuinely excited to see Dana step into boxing because it brings more attention, more energy, and more momentum to the sport overall. He acknowledged that the effort to push changes like the Muhammad Ali Act shows Dana's commitment, but at the end of the day, Hearn believes the only way to measure greatness is by going head-to-head. For him, that's the ultimate challenge, taking on Dana White, competing for the biggest fights, and proving to the world that when it comes to promoting boxing, Eddie Hearn stands at the very top.